Hello, you. On today's Q&A, we're going to be answering your questions all about fiestas and food and fun in Spain. It's Easter Saturday today. Happy Easter, everybody. Happy Semana Santa. And in Spain, that means we're just about at the end of a long week of processions to celebrate Semana Santa or Holy Week. It's probably the most important week in the Spanish calendar. So I thought it'd be the perfect time to talk about what to expect if you're moving to Spain or even just visiting. We've got loads and loads of pictures to show you, and we're going to be talking a lot about food. And I will be joined shortly on the virtual settee by our very good friend Chris from Upsticks.es to chat to you all about that and the food and fun that you can have in this vibrant country. So stick around, ask questions, give us a wave, hit the like button and get yourself a mention in the live chat or in the comments below. Now, gather round. It's time for our small but perfectly formed cosmic dance tune. Let's boogie. Oh, yes. Well, wasn't that groovy? Well, before I bring in Chris, as usual, I've got a delightful suggestion for you all. When we've answered your questions today and shown you all of the lovely stuff in Spain, why not check out our website, YouTooSpain.com, where you can find lots of extra information, blog articles, resources. We've got loads on there and lots of things that you need for your move to Spain and for living here. There's the free newsletter that comes out every month. So sign up to get that. Doesn't cost you a penny. Speaking of which, all of the expert help you get here is absolutely free. But I'm sure if you appreciate the value of the information and entertainment you get from YouTooSpain, you can make a donation via buymeacoffee.com/U2. There's a link below. Or if you're tech savvy, hover over the thing just up there, the QR code, and it'll take you right there. You can also get discounts on vital services. They're all tried and tested companies that support YouTooSpain every time you use the links, and it doesn't cost you a penny. One of my favorites, smart currency exchange. Do that now. The exchange rates actually are at about the average level for 5 years right now, because they've been going down and down and they've just hopped up. This is a good time to fix the rate for when you move. So sign up to that, speak to my favorite advisor for free to help you make the most of your money, and so that you're not at the whim of the exchange rates. It's a win-win-win-win-win with a cherry on top. So without further ado, let's meet our lovely guest for the day. It's Chris from Upsticks. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning.
Well, it's Easter. Have you been celebrating?
It's been quite a strange week. It's always a strange week at Easter, isn't it? When when you're working and stuff, and then the bank holiday. But it's fallen well.
Yeah, it has, and the weather has been delightful. Normally, it rains on Easter week.
Yeah, I'm really pleased for everybody because obviously there's an awful lot of effort goes into Easter. A lot of my friends are involved. Spanish friends are involved in it. You know, they start the practicing for certain things in February, and then only for it to get rained off, it's not good. So it's been a good week for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we'll have some rain afterwards, because we need the rain this year. The reservoirs are a bit low. So yeah, that's a bit scary. So do you have any shout outs for clients today, or should we just go straight into the...
Oh, I haven't got any shout outs this week because we've only been open 3 days. There's no resolutions through this week. It's been very quiet. You'll find that when dealing with paperwork, you'll probably find an avalanche will drop in on Monday. But this week it's been extremely quiet this week on all fronts. To be honest, in terms of appointments and everything, it normally is.
We've had fewer people watching the videos. I was just saying to you before the start of the show, and it happens around Christmas and Easter,
right?
And that's fine. People are off celebrating, aren't they? But Anthony and Kerry are on. Anton Kez, hello from France, and Barry from Unitech. Our stalwart fans are here. They've got up on Easter morning just to be with us. Thank you so much. And for the rest of you who might be watching afterwards, then good morning to you too. And Feliz Pascua a todos. Oh, that's how you say it. There we go. And There we go. So actually, let's answer the one question that's come in from social media. Let's get that sorted before we go on to finding out all about these celebrations around Spain. Where's it gone? Question from William Bradley. He says, when applying for the non-lucrative visa, I put down the Balearic Islands on my original registration form due to arrive in Spain next month. If I decide to live in a different area, Valencia, and register there, would this be a problem?
I think I've spoken to William, actually. I recognise the name. No, it won't be a problem, but you do have to have a Padron certificate if you've gone to a different area. Now, we always have this to be or not to be with a Padron certificate when you're coming to register your NLV, don't you? Because you'll see all over, it's always all over social media that some people can't get one, some people can. And it is, and it depends. Basically, there's a lot of offices. If you've registered, for example, here in Malaga, if you registered an address in Malaga and turn up with an address which is different, but in Malaga for the first registration, they don't require one. But if you registered in Alicante, we've just got a client now who's come in who registered actually at our correspondence address in Alicante, and now coming to Malaga because I managed to sell Malaga to him. I was like, no, you're going to need to come to Malaga. Brilliant. So in the end, they're coming to Malaga, but they're actually going to need to get a Padron certificate to be able to register because they initially registered in Alicante.
Right.
So
that's all possible.
But it's all possible. There's no way. I mean, like the Alicante region, for example, Elda, which is one of the ones which we managed to grab appointments at, they insist on a Padron, and that's it. You can't even have the proof that you've registered on the Padron. It's got to be a Padron certificate. Whereas Alicante, there's an office called Mira, and they don't. They just say, well, as long as you register somewhere in Alicante for the first registration, you can just rock up. So it does really depend, but he'll definitely need a Padron.
There we go. Thanks for the question, William. So, just a quick reminder for the viewers, in case you missed last week's show, Chris and I both have something amazing to celebrate because not only has he just made his 100th YouTube video for the Upsticks channel, but last week was his 50th special guest appearance on YouTooSpain. So, congratulations again on that. And
50 hours, is that like 2 days worth of videos between us online now?
Oh, at least, yeah. Well, I'll have to count it up, actually. I'll count the minutes. That'll take me a little while. So, and so as we said last week, I know you don't really like food and drink and celebrating very much, but I forced you to come back on the show and talk about it all. So obviously it's Easter now when we're recording the show, but it might not be when people are watching. So we can talk about any fiestas and food that we want. Today is all about celebrating. Is Easter your favorite Spanish celebration, or have you got another one?
I think so. I think I do like. I mean, there's Christmas is quite good. I do like Christmas because Easter. Going back, I used to live. Talking about Easter, I used to live I lived in Granada province for 4 years back in the late noughties. And we pretty much got Eastered out 4 years living in this village because we lived in Locha, lovely village, amazing village, but it's in a valley, and I definitely would recommend that anybody who goes to the Granada province to visit Locha. It's behind a massive sierra. It's an amazing place. But they start to practice in February, and our house, which we actually still have, we've got it, we still own it. There, it's rented. Was on the side of the Casco Antigua, and they used to practice in the bottom, like where all the town hall and municipal places were, and you could just hear it, like literally day in, day out for 2 months. And obviously the procession shut down the town, so I can't say as I've been to many processions after that, but I definitely had some good experiences there watching it.
Yeah, Locha is really nice, and that's where we stayed. Obviously, shout out to Steve and Mandy who looked after me and Liz.
You know Locha, don't you?
Yeah, because they live out in a little village just outside, but we walked in and out a few times, and they say their little village it's completely shut down, and they celebrate day and night, and it's right outside their house where they live, so no sleep for about 3 days then.
No, you don't. And then obviously during the Semana Santa, Locha actually has 2 evening processions, and one that runs through the night. So it starts late at night and runs through to the morning. It's more of the somber one. I think it's after the crucifixion, I think. And
they process for all night.
All night.
Wow.
And there was one guy who did, when it got to the town, did part of it, I can always remember, on his knees, believe it or not.
Wow.
So that was commitment.
That's mad.
Obviously had knee pads and everything, but did about a kilometre, behind, just shuffling along.
But just processing for that amount of time and just walking for that amount of time is really difficult. I know the ones in Computer, and when they're carrying the platforms, whatever they call the thrones, on their shoulders, which we're going to see lots of photographs of in a minute, I could see them getting weary. They've got on these smaller thrones that they've got in the smaller the smaller villages, they've got these staffs with little sort of hooks on, and they can rest it on there when they ring the bell and it stops, and they can put it on there. It gives them a little bit of a rest. So Auntie's saying Chris might know what a typical Easter tipple and bite to eat is. Yeah, we're going to move on to that in the second half of the show. So, and morning to Toshi and Terry and Mike. Thanks for joining us there. So I just have to notice, I got a note from Amazon this morning, one of those things that they recommend. Today's recommendation was a hot sauce called the Resurrection, which I think is brilliant. Well done, Amazon.
Fantastic.
And let's see, my favorite celebration, I think I've mentioned it on the show before, is the Noche del Vino, which happens, I don't know if it's all over Spain, but certainly here in Computer, it's famous for it because they've got a particularly sweet, dark wine that's lovely, and they give it out for free that day. So typically for Spain, it doesn't just happen at night; it's all day and most of the night when that goes on. And like you say, we are up above the town looking down on it, so we get to hear the practices and everything. The sound just travels up from the town wherever they are.
It's fantastic atmosphere. It's I mean, it's good. There's a nice feeling about Easter. I think there's you get a lot of it feels very family, and you see a lot. I just saw on Facebook this morning, the guy who is the concierge in our office block. Actually, after 35 years, he's handed the brotherhood right to carry the trono to his son, who's big enough now, so 17. It's massive. It's a massive thing, So they're there. The mayor came over to congratulate them and stuff like that. So it's there's a lot of that kind of thing goes on. It's lovely to see.
Yeah, you can see the way that people take it really seriously from the town. They've got candles, and they join the procession after all of the thrones have gone through, and there's the band in the middle, and very much. So let's have a look at some of these photographs. Actually, we'll start with Computer. You'll see as we go through some of these that the scale depends on the size of the village or the town or the city that you're in, obviously, because the streets of Computer aren't big enough to hold the sort of floats that they have in Malaga. But that's a shot. That's from last Sunday, which is Palm Sunday. This is where Jesus rides into Jerusalem on the donkey or the ass, and so you can see the sort of the scale that it is in Computer. And I would say there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, maybe 14 people carrying that one. So not huge, but getting it in and out of the church. The churches the church doorways weren't built to get these things through, so they have to carry it down like almost underarm and get out, and then lifting it up onto their shoulders. They nearly dropped one on Thursday evening, which was a bit scary. I was standing right next to it, and it just tipped right over on its side, and people rushing to grab it, make sure it didn't break, because they put an awful lot of effort into these things. And so there's that. I don't know if one of those is the mayor. I can't tell from here. That's front of the procession, and there he is close up. They really looked after well, aren't they? The detail in those things is amazing.
And of lot of the effigies are very, very old. So they do, obviously they restore them, they look after them. But I know certainly when you talk in Loja, you can go and visit them during the year they're behind closed doors, but certainly the Virgin Mary there is on show all the time, and I think that's believed to be 80 years old or something from the original one. So they're generational things as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've got quite a lot in Compita. I mean, the church is fairly big, but not that big. And there's an Hermitage, a smaller church at the end of the village, where I think they may keep this one. But I counted 7 or 8 different ones. So that's the one with Jesus carrying the cross there. Oh, and you can see some of the I wouldn't call them costumes, but the clothes that some of them are wearing. Those are the purple. I think that's women under those purple masks in Compita. I'm not sure. I don't know the history of these ones, so I might learn all of this for next year and tell everybody. Yeah, that's the one on the. I took that one actually. So see the church tower, and that's the most common one that I've seen. There's one in Vélez Málaga, one in Malaga itself, and it's just a different size. So Mary with cloak and loads of candles on it.
You don't want to talk about the Vélez Málaga one that set on fire this year, didn't it?
Yeah, scary. Was that yesterday?
No, that wasn't yesterday. It was the day before, I believe. I saw it on the news. It wasn't yesterday. It was the day before. And apparently it set on fire. It's on YouTube actually.
Okay, that must have been scary. But yeah. I think coming up once we've gone through the Compita ones, we'll have a look, and I think it's still there and it's still okay by the look of it. This was about 6:45 on Friday morning. There's a men's procession, and they chant and walk through the streets with. And they carry. That's the one they carry. Obviously, it's Friday is the day of the crucifixion, so there's a lot goes into that one, and that's a lot more somber. And they've got that one as well, which is Jesus in his robes, and yeah, that's the crucifixion one, and that's just 3 of them. So there's one Jesus in his robes, Jesus without his robes just after when he's about to be crucified, and there's Mary on the right, and they've got the one carrying the cross, and they've got the one with the donkey, and that's just 5. Loads of them. And so Liz heard this one early in the morning. These photographs were taken by friends of ours, and yeah, really, really somber one. Oh, that's another one they've got with Jesus in the tomb behind the glass. Really elaborate, isn't it?
Yeah, it's incredible. The details, incredible.
There we go. And there's that one as well. So that's Mary after Jesus is taken down from the cross, and that's quite an important one. So yeah. This is Vélez Málaga. You can see the size of the. This is just one of the bands, I think, and they're all dressed in uniforms. They weren't. They were in not quite so military-looking uniforms in Compita, but the band were really good. A lot of youngsters in it.
Yeah, it's a real family event. I mean, it's really nice to see. There's sort of no questions asked, even by the kids, all year. Even like Christmas, you see they might have a moan about stuff, but Easter, it's always whether the families are heavily involved or there's people who aren't, they still go to support. At least one of the families which are involved. So it's a great family atmosphere. Yeah.
And they're all wearing the ones who are in the procession. They're all wearing lots of the different outfits to match the adults as well. And I can't show them on YouTube because it says on my channel, that I don't show photographs of children. It's one of the stipulations. So sorry, I can't show any of those, but they have amazing outfits too.
And the dress sense is just amazing. The people, if you're out last Sunday, or if you go out even this Sunday, not so much yesterday. Yesterday, the Friday doesn't tend to be, but the way that people dress up is so smart. It's like they do for the communions as well. When they have the Holy Communions, if you go to Holy Communion, you see that the effort that goes into the outfits. Obviously, the men generally wear suits, but some of the dresses that the ladies and the younger girls wear are just incredible. You know, they're all tailored. You know, definitely, it's amazing.
We'll see one in a minute from Visas Malaga that's exactly the same as one from Computer, and all in black. I was just going to say the ones in Computer, when they were playing these bugles that you might be able to see on screen there, they're all the buglers, and the ones in Computer, when they weren't playing them, they were spinning them around from down low, you know, like drummers do with their drumsticks, spinning them around, all in time to the music, and it was that was really, really good.
Fantastic.
So let's go on to that. Oh yes, and of course, famously in Spain, there's lots of these long pointy hats that remind people of the Ku Klux Klan, but it predates all of that nasty history. And so yeah, you'll see the different, you know, the white ones, there's black ones, there's red ones, and they're all from the different, I don't know how many brotherhoods they have. They're all called brotherhoods, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, each town has its own different brotherhoods with its history. I think we were saying, I think in Malaga from that program there was over 25, wasn't there? I think you were saying,
yeah,
or more. But yeah, there's certainly more than one, and each brotherhood's in charge of taking out its own effigy and its own trono.
So there we go. Oh, there's another one. So they're in black or white with a kind of maroon hat. It's not a hat, is it? And there's the one with them actually carrying the crosses themselves. That must be tough carrying. Oh, there we go. That's one of the outfits that I saw. There's a thing behind which you can't see because she's got the staff in front of it, but that's quite spectacular. A bit that sticks up with a kind of veil on it, and all dressed in black. So kind of a mourning garb there. And oh yeah, one of the bands in Visas Malaga. Are they a band?
No, that's the Legion. That's the Legion.
Ah.
So they they're very heavily. They do the famous race in Ronda, the 101 kilometer. They organise that as well to fund part of it. And
oh wow!
During Easter, they always have a massive parade in the Legion. Get involved in Malaga quite heavily.
Is that the one where Thursday, where the Jesus on the cross lands on a boat, and they parade through the town? Is that? I heard something about that. It's a big thing.
I don't know if that's the exact one. No, I know I went to see it once with a friend of mine, my electrician actually, but a friend as well. He's from Locker, and because his family was quite involved in the Legion. So although he wasn't, just they still go as a tradition to take the kids down to see them, and they were just going. It was the parade that went past Corte Inglés, so we saw them there.
Brilliant. Well, there you go. There's another one close up of that. That's really posh uniform they've got on. So another one from Visas Malaga. I think that is that. Oh no, that's Malaga. Just the difference in scale. Suddenly going from quite a large. Visas Malaga, I think, is a town bigger than Computer. Computer's about 3,000 population. Visas Malaga maybe more like 10 or 15,000. I don't know. I can't remember. But Malaga, much bigger population, bigger streets, and the number of people they've got carrying that throne is amazing. I don't know how many there are, 30 or 40 maybe.
Yeah, the coordination's incredible, isn't it?
So that is that's just incredible, and that's the equivalent of that's the Mary one. So yeah, got quite a few different angles on this. And a big thank you, by the way, to the people from what is it, Computer Escapes. Thank you guys. They went on a special few days out to Malaga, and they were in a particular property with a balcony so that they could get these pictures from above. Thank you guys for that. They've got some B&Bs here in Computer, so if anybody's looking to come and stay, then look up Computer Escapes. They're brilliant. And they did recommend the people that they went to Malaga with as well as I'll bring the name up in a minute. So yeah, that's the front of that one. They're all in maroon with white gloves, the guys carrying that one. And you'll see in it, you can just see, I don't know if you're on a small screen, but you can see how close they are together.
Yeah.
And the coordination just to get your legs and your arms moving at the same way. They sway side to side, don't they? There they are. That's how much they're squashed in together. And some guys holding onto the cross poles but mostly on the shoulders. That must hurt after a while. Do they swap over at all in Malaga?
Yeah, they do swap over. Yeah, they go from front to back, I believe, depending on what they're doing. I can always remember in Locker when they were taking out it was Jesus on the crucifix, and as they were going down the hill, the guys from the back would then go and take over at the front, and then they would stop and shift round again. But yeah,
there you go.
They also swap. I think they swap from left to right because the shoulders. A friend of mine who's really my ex-neighbour, Gary, he's really involved, and he said that they because of the shoulder, you can really end up with a bad shoulder. Then they swap places to switch shoulders as well.
Oh yeah. Oh, I can see that's all on the right shoulder. The guys at the bottom of the picture, they're all on their right shoulder, and the guys at the top are on the left. So they must just go up and then back down.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So yeah, presumably that's the sort of thing that they practice. I saw a picture once of them practicing with an empty plinth, an empty platform, just to get the weight of it. So they have to practice the maneuver where they pick it up. There's a special name for it as well.
And obviously the stepping as well. They have to be. They have to know when the call is to move, that it's left leg first, and because if one goes with the right, they'll all be tripping over.
That's it. Yeah, that'll be a nightmare. And they've got a bell on the front of all of them that they ring to say to start and they ring to stop. So yeah, there's a special bell ringer's job. That's another one. I think that's a Jesus in his cloaks, and there are all kind of military people behind that as well. Who are the ones with the red hats? Do you know?
No clue. There would be no clue with that.
So that's the front view of that one. That's how many people you get in the streets. There's the people down the side are the ones watching, and the procession's just gone past, and these are the people as part of the procession following it. In Compita, they all had candles, and they all have something in their left hand, which is where they drip the wax to stop it dripping on their hands. But it looks lovely at night time when they're all processing through the streets in the dark, and they turn off the street lights. I think they do that in Malaga on one of the days, the Thursday maybe, or the Friday.
That's always one of my lasting memories, is when driving through the town after Easter, your tyres just squeak all the time because the wax on the floor.
Oh wow!
You go on the old cobbled stones there, and it was in Locker. There was another town we visited called Algarenejo. When you're driving along, you can actually hear the amount of wax that's actually on the floor. It makes a noise.
Thank you to Ant there. He's saying 4 candles. There. Shout out to the R.I.P. Ronnie Barker. Thank you. I was just looking at that picture earlier. You can't quite see it on a small screen, but just behind where your picture is there, Chris, you can, almost everybody is on their mobile phone, looking down at their phones. Presumably, they've just been taking loads of pictures and they're looking at the pictures, or sending the pictures off or putting them on Facebook. It's just remarkable how the difference between the people in the middle and the people on the outside. That's a modern phenomenon. There we go. Lots of people. And what's next on this one? Let's see. There we go. That's another one. It's another Mary, I think, but another one of the Brotherhoods in Malaga, black and white. And I don't know how many I've got of Malaga. Let's just try and flick through some of those. Yeah, there's the top of that one. And that's quite an ornate one, isn't it? That's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 statues on there. I'm not sure who the guy on the right is. That's on the crosses. It's Jesus and the 2 robbers. If if I remember my Bible stories, and there's Mary on the left, but there's somebody on the right there holding presumably the clothes of Jesus, because they were auctioned off afterwards. They were sold off. So can't remember the story anymore, but I have vague memories of Sunday school there. Oh yes. So thank you to Rosa Rojo, the Malaga Premium Host Experiences. I promised the Computer Escapes people that I'd give them a mention. And also mention to Deborah Haywood for the Vélez Malaga pictures. I did ask her permission on Facebook before I grabbed those pictures, but she only uploaded them at 3 o'clock this morning onto Facebook, so I don't think she's awake yet. But thank you there, Deborah. And to anybody else who took these pictures. Oh, this isn't Easter. I just thought we'd have a chat about other celebrations. Obviously, I mentioned Noche del Vino before, but this is one of the biggest festivals in Andalusia. This is the Cadiz Carnival. Have you been to that?
I haven't. No, I haven't been to the Cadiz Carnival. I think I'd like to go.
Yeah, I would. I'd like to thank Nick Nutter, one of my favourite names of my friends on Facebook. He's got a site called visitandalusia.com, and it's absolutely packed with information. So thank you for the use of all of these images. And I'll just flick through some of those because the costumes are amazing. They look like the conquistadors there.
Yeah.
And wow, those are native South Americans who were conquisted. And I'd like to be in that band.
Wow.
Yeah, so loads and loads. Oh, we're moving on to food. Yes. Is there anything else to say about festivals before we move on?
I think it's definitely, when people are moving over, just make sure you get your year calendar planned out, because we don't, every year it seems to creep up on us, all the fiestas. So things like Dia de Andalucia, that's one of my favorite days, because it's just Andalusia, and it's something that people celebrate. You get a cheeky day off, which you shouldn't really have, so that's good. And Easter, you've got to plan it in advance, because if you're planning on staying, people come from all over to see their family members, don't they? So you can never get a place to stay if you're going to move into Malaga or something. So always do it in advance.
Absolutely. And in there, if you're not quick, you might miss some, like Cadiz Carnival. I've just put up on the screen that 16th to the 26th of February. So if you're not quick, you'll miss some of these, and they're on all year. So and it's a 10-day celebration, probably the craziest carnival in Spain, from the 16th to the 26th of February. And they moved it during, I think, 2020, during COVID. They put it on in October or something instead. But it looks like it's moved back to February to its normal time. So keep an eye out for that one.
Even local carnivals. There's always a local carnival. It's pretty amazing how people get in the schools, for example. So our kids, people who are coming over with kids, if they're going to school here, the dedication to the things that go on, like National Book Day, spend 3 days doing things about books. Carnival, they'll go in dressed up. They do their own carnival. They did this year. They did their own carnival on the street, actually outside the front, and the town hall got involved and got the police up to shut the road off. So they, in Spain in general, when it's a sort of a fiesta, they really do go all out. It's incredible.
They've got Nick was mentioning on his site there. The police cheerfully ignore for the weeks leading up to the carnival if the people are practicing, if they're getting their costumes out, trying them on, trying all of the different things that they've built for the carnival, which might block the streets off for miles in lots of towns, and the police just ignore it and let people get on with it, because they know it's a huge thing. And this was actually, the Cadiz Carnival was the only carnival in Spain that Franco could not ban, it says on here. That's interesting. So, there's some facts about the Malaga one. This Malaga's actually is it one of the most famous in Spain? This their Semana Santa. It's just up to 500 years old, the celebration of that. Although it used to be a lot smaller centuries ago. They used to have, they call them litters, I think. That's the translation that Google put up. But now they're colossal, and they assemble them. All of the brotherhoods assemble. They've got these, the buildings the size of massive sheds or warehouses, and they've all got the names of the brotherhood on the top of them. It'd be worth just doing a tour around, just seeing all of the brotherhood buildings.
Yeah, it would. I mean, and if you're out on the Sunday, when the parades end on a Sunday and people are finally relaxing, in the town, that's after, if you've been to see a few parades, but you want to see, the sort of the aftermath, it's nice because you will see a lot of the brotherhoods having a beer and letting their hair down, not dancing or anything, but they're still walking around in the gear. But it's quite strange when you walk into a bar and you see people dressed up but having a beer and a glass of wine. Afterwards.
So I guess that's kind of Sunday afternoon, isn't it? Because the last parade in Computer is midday, I think, on Sunday, which is the Jesus has risen. So it's a lot more joyful, really, than the other ones. Some of these thrones in Malaga weigh up to 4.1 tons. That's the biggest one. That's enormous, and they can be up to 6 meters tall. I don't know how they miss all of the cables going along the streets. They sometimes have to duck down in some of the villages. So our brotherhoods are called cofradías. There we go. I made a note of that. And some of them just have the drum beat, especially on the sort of Thursday and Friday as well. Whereas Malaga kind of more famous for having the bands and the particular tunes that they play. There we go. And it's the Friday night one that's the most emotional. Apparently, that's when the street lights are off and all of the thrones are lit up with candles. And health and safety, obviously, has got to be a thing, as they learned in Vélez Málaga. So there you go. Okay. I've been showing a picture of this food all the time while we've been talking about it. I'm salivating. So this is a traditional Malagueñan dish that you cooked.
Yeah, so we had. I mean, strange this time of year. You have because we're in this the crossover from winter to spring and summer. We're in spring now. You find that obviously in summer you have a lot of most people, if they go out to eat during the day and they're here in Malaga, they're going to eat pescado or marisco. They're going to eat fish. Whereas in the winter, it's typical where it's more meaty type dishes, really. So you have in Semana Santa, you always find you have this amazing. If you're going out to eat, you have a mix of both. Really, to be honest, it's great. But yeah, last week, because of my friends are involved, obviously now this week, we said we'd get together and do a rice, and we did what they call a arroz caldoso de marisco. And it's a saucy, fishy rice, basically.
Nice.
And
is that all the ingredients?
Yeah. So you have today. So I mean, it's what I was trying to do was we went to a really amazing restaurant in Almeria in Cabo de Gata, and it was just a paella restaurant, and we had one of these rice there, and it was the most amazing rice that I'd ever tasted, honestly, and I've had quite a few. It was just fabulous, and I was there hounding the chef to how they make it and stuff, and we've been trying to recreate it ever since. So this is as close as we got so far, but yeah, so that's the ingredients. You start with slightly different to a normal paella. You obviously have the garlic, red onions, believe it or not, tomatoes, red peppers and green peppers. The stock for the rice is made with you can see there that we've got prawns and what they call cigalas, which are like langoustines as well. And then we use the peeled prawns and cod and basically a few other leftovers and insides from fish to cook the stock. That takes a couple of hours, actually. You leave that bubbling away. There's no stock cubes involved. You've got to make it from fresh.
Is that next picture? Is that the stock, or is that the...
There we go. That's the stock. That's all everything that's left over and peeled. So during you know, during if you ever, it sounds crazy, but when you buy the prawns that, you know, the which are pre-cooked even, and you peel them, keep the shells, keep anything, and freeze it. And then when you come to make one of these rice, it all goes in the stock and leave it bubbling away there for a couple of hours.
Excellent.
And
We've got the final result there.
And that was the final result. Yeah, so that was it. We had this, obviously got cockles in there as well. Didn't put mussels in it, so we had cockles in it and only prawns. Mussels are quite earthy, and this is actually it's quite a sweet rice. So we didn't put the mussels in it. We kept it to the smaller, sort of whiter mariscos.
So it's not the same rice that you put in paella.
No, so the rice is arroz bomba. It's short grain rice. So you have long grain rice in normal, shall we say, dry paella, and this is what you would do with a normal paella. You would leave it to settle quite a bit. So basically, once it's cooked, you cover it over and you leave it to settle at least for 10 minutes, so it finishes up. Just sometimes gets a little bit crispy on top. That's how the Valencian rice are. Whereas the caldosos with the caldo, which is a sauce, I suppose. You serve those straight away because the rice is you don't want the rice to overdo, but it continues to cook, doesn't it? So it's literally straight out to the pad into the bowl, and that rice there actually comes from the Delta Ebre up near Tarragona, which is very, very famous for the rice. It's a little bit like the fens in the UK. There's a big delta where the River Ebro goes out into the sea, and it's all rice paddies around it with the flamingos. It's amazing.
Wow. So some regions are more famous for paella than others, but it seems like the ingredients are different wherever you are in Spain as well. They've got lots more meat up north, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So I mean, if you go to there's if you go to Valencia, obviously they have a mixture. They have a mixed paella. I've never really got my head around mixed paella. I like it to be meat or fish. I don't really do mixed ones, but they do a fantastic one in Valencia, along with a black rice. If you ever get the chance to have a black rice where they use squid ink, that's just amazing because it just adds a crazy flavor to it. You'll find, talking about the north, up in the Tarragona, Barcelona area, they have this rice called Signoret, and basically it's a fish rice, but every single thing is peeled. There's no shells. And they call it, so it's like the Signor's rice because you don't have to get your fingers dirty. You don't touch anything because it's all been peeled or shelled accordingly. And then here in Malaga, really on the beach, you'll find that obviously it's fish rice, and they do like to get their hands dirty here. You know, the bigger the marisco, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely down on the south coast here, we've got a lot more fish, as we'll see going through your pictures. You were at a gastro bar restaurant, weren't you?
Yeah, so we went to Sergio Mejia's, which is a gastro bar here in Alarin de la Torre. A great chef, really good. He's he's won prizes and stuff, but he opens here in the town, and believe it or not, this was a fried a fried caramelized avocado.
Yeah, I was wondering.
With like shredded sort of germinated like crest type things on top with remolacha. What's remolacha? It's beetroot, and it was absolutely amazing. He comes up with all sorts of inventions.
That does look amazing. Yeah. Oh, is that some kind of sausages and meat on there?
Believe it or not, no, that's actually, if you ever get a chance to try it in Spain, there's a tomato called a culmato.
Yeah.
A culmato, and it's a dark, they call them blue tomatoes as well. It's dark purple tomato, and it's got a completely different flavor. And that's, believe it or not, that's a little bit of tuna on top there. That's raw tuna, and obviously avocados, but the cogollitos, they call them, the little lettuces. But the tomatoes and the tuna are just amazing. So culmato, remember, it's with a K, spelled with a K. Remember that. You see them in the supermarket. They're very, very dark, almost purpley tomatoes. They're well worth a buy.
Excellent. And that one, I have no idea what's in that one. That's a lovely plate as well, isn't it?
That was, believe it or not, that was tuna as well. That was raw
Oh,
tuna, raw tuna tart there with a homemade sauce. It was amazing. His presentation's incredible.
is it a tomato based thing?
No, it was almost sweet. It wasn't. You'd think it would look orangey, wouldn't you? But it
Mm,
was slightly fishy based. I don't know where he got the color from, but yeah.
mm, lovely. And now I'm slightly confused by this. That looks like tomato with parmesan on it, with ice cream in the middle. So tell me what I've got wrong. Is it sweet or sour or what?
It's sweet. It's sweet and sour. Well, basically, what it is, it's savoury and sweet. So that was a what they call it's beetroot. They have a beetroot sort of mash type thing, which is a slightly more dense flavour than the so, salmorejo, which is like the really thick gazpacho that we get here.
Mm-hmm.
You can eat it with a spoon. It's slightly thicker than that, and it's made out of beetroot. And then in the middle, they have lime sorbet, and
Wow.
then they top it off with cheese. And when you read it, you think
You go,
that looks
no, yeah.
disgusting, but it was amazing to eat it. It was amazing. So it's like a sorbet on beetroot with a very that's a very very hard cheese, and believe it or not, they all complemented each other, the flavors.
Wow. There we go. Oh,
Oh,
look who's
there's
popped
Lara.
up. Yeah, fantastic. Is that gazpacho?
Yeah, that was like a salmorejo, but that was actually salmorejo made with strawberries, believe it or not.
Wow. So it's a dessert.
Yeah, so it's like a you can either eat an entree or a dessert. So it can be an aperitivo or dessert. But yeah, that was a nice one.
Wow, brilliant. And there we go. There's one of my favourites. I think always, if it is, what kind of fish is it?
So this is boquerones al limon, boquerones fried. This is a great it's a great dish for kids if you bring kids to Spain. So my kids love this. It's an introduction into eating small bits of fish.
Hmm.
And they're basic boquerones in English. That's whitebait, isn't it? Is it whitebait?
I think so. Yes. Yeah. I've never heard somebody translate it properly, but yeah, it sounds right to me.
Yeah, so so the whitebait is so that's whitebait, and they squeeze a bit of lemon on and deep fry them, and it's a very very typical dish here, very very typical, and it's something that kids like as well.
I've had it all the way along the coast. It's lovely. Go to a chiringuito and just get it absolutely fresh because they'll have just come off the boat.
Oh yeah, they would have. Yeah, they have to be fresh to be fried.
Yeah, and if you're on this part of the coast, then I think they come in. I think Caleta is where they all come in. That's where all the big warehouses are, where the fish come in.
Yeah.
And all of the chefs from all the way along in the chiringuitos pick them up first thing in the morning. So there you go. Oh, there's you with. There's actually a close up of that one there as well. What's that?
Oh, now that is a jumbo prawn. They sometimes call them tiger prawns. So they're known as tiger prawns or jumbo prawns, and they're absolutely huge. You can see for the spoon. They sell them by weight, but it's worth trying them. Now they're not, the meat's not soft. It's not. It's a harder meat than you would get with a normal prawn, which melts in your mouth. But the taste is fabulous. It's very it's quite earthy. And obviously, believe it or not, all the little legs and everything contain meat as well. So yeah, it's well worth a try.
Delicious. Ant says anchovies. No, they weren't anchovies. They were anchovies. What's anchovies in Spanish?
Anchoa.
Anchovy. That's easy to remember. And yeah, I love the anchovies as well. Even for you people out there who say they don't like anchovies because all you've done is had them on pizza or something like that. But it's completely different when you have them fresh and put in a little bit of flour and deep fried. Absolutely gorgeous. And there's a mixed fish coming up later on, I think, which is amazing. Oh, what are these? That's in oyster shells. Is it oyster?
It's actually no, they're clams. They call them concha fina. It's very, 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 very typical in Malaga, and this time of year you'll find that. So what you'll find is that Malagueños, they although Spanish do have a habit of eating out, They don't always eat out, should we say, spending a bit more than they would normally do. You know, there'd be the odd tap or whatever. But in Semana Santa, they really do get together with the families, and it's don't hold back. And when they go and eat marisco on the beach, you'll find that one of the marisco being like shellfish, I think it is, isn't it, in English? One of the staples is concha fina, and they do it so many different ways. So you can have a concha fina, which is just as it comes, raw with a bit of pepper and lemon. And this is what they call al pipil. So we have gambas al pipil, or this is concha fina al pipil. So it's got a slight spice to it.
My favourite. Lovely. So next. Oh, now I had no idea what this is. Oh, it's just, is that fish? Is that salmon and another one?
Yeah, it's actually raw salmon and onion in olive oil, and that was it. I said we're going to try that. So it's raw salmon and onions in olive oil. That's really nice, actually.
Wow. Woo 58 is saying, has anyone been to Via Joyosa Christian and Moorish Festival? Have you been to that one?
No, I haven't. Right, it down. We'll have a look.
Yeah, tell us about that one. Woo, is that your real name? That'd be nice. I'd like to meet somebody called Woo. Woo. Let's see. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so they've got one sea snail, which was only the only one they had left actually, and then the figalas like langoustines, and again they're huge here, especially in the rice as well. They give the rice a really good flavour. You'll find that if you get any sort of morisco rice, they'll stick a couple in. Or what they do is they generally tend to sell them in the restaurants pre-cooked. Believe it or not, they come. They don't give them to you cooked. They normally come pre-cooked. But yeah, they're nice. A good alternative to a prawn if you fancy one.
Yeah, lovely. Next up, that's not San Miguel.
No, it's not. It's definitely another typical thing to try if you come to Malaga. Is called caldito de pinto roja. And pinto roja is a fish, and it's quite an earthy, dark fish. They make a soup basically out of it, and they serve it in these very small glasses with a bit of lemon. And then generally you'll find there'll be a mussel or something floating around somewhere in it. But it's a very earthy sort of warming fish soup, and it's absolutely amazing. Really good entrance.
Lovely. Next, what we got now? Is that mackerel?
No, that's again, it's white bait, but this time pickled.
Oh, okay. Good. Now I know. Look, is again, that in all in? So that's in the kind of vinegary. Looks like it's got olive oil on there as well.
Yeah, it's pickled in, and they normally serve with olive oil. And yeah, it's definitely this is a really good one if you've got kids, which you wouldn't believe it. That's where my kids eat it, but you've got kids with a teething, right? Because it's not bitter, because by the time you get it out there, although it's pickled, by the time they're on the plate and they've had a bit of olive oil, then for teething kids, this is a really good way to get them into fish.
Wow. Yeah.
My son used to sit and suck on these all the time. He still loves them now, but you say, well, try that, and it'd be like, oh, because it's got all this flavour in it. I'll probably get told that you're not supposed to feed them or vinegar or something. I don't know, but it hasn't done my kids anyhow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're still eating loads of fish, aren't they? They love it. There you go. Now that's oysters.
That's oysters. Yeah, that's just again this time of year now. They start popping up because they've obviously got to be fresh. And in the winter, you generally can't get oysters unless you go to a very, very, very busy seafood restaurant. But now it's summer, they've become more available.
Oh, I thought oysters were more available when it's cold in the Atlantic coast and further north as well.
It's more not the availability of the oyster, but more the usage in the restaurants. So because the restaurants aren't that busy they don't order them in, whereas now because they're busy, they do get them in, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Great stuff. Oh, there we go. Let's talk about the lemon. That's a very blurry photograph, but actually I'll switch it off so that you can show us the real lemon.
I've got the lemon here. So this is typical in Malaga in Easter. They have these melons which are called cascarus. Okay, this is actually from my garden. They're huge. These like massive lemons. Sorry. And then what they do is I don't know why they do it. It's a sort of a penance type thing. Is they peel them and chop them up like this, then eat them. So I'm gonna have a go at this one.
Yeah. So these are sweeter than normal.
Yeah, they've got a bit of a tang to them, but they're sweeter. Sweeter. Some people, I forgot to bring it out, actually put salt on it as well.
Oh.
That's how they do it.
There we go. Do you have tequila with it?
Bit early for that.
Bit early for tequila.
we
at
least have a 12 o'clock tequila limit.
Now this isn't one of yours. This is from Elena Stewart. She answered my question online about what have you got in your area. She lives in Monova, which is that Alicante or Almeria? Alicante, I think. And this is the Gachamigas. And they take so much pride and effort, and it's hard work because it takes continuous stirring over an open fire in the heat of the day, and the youngsters just tag each other, and they take turns and gather around. It takes a while to make it. Is that now? There's something called migas that they've had in that you spoke to me about, and I know they have it in Computer at one of their festivals. I think it's the Noche del Vino, actually. So they give out free Computer wine and free migas.
I've never seen that. That looks amazing. I have to research that and see what that is. Migas generally comes with wine type festivals because it soaks up quite a bit of the alcohol. It's got a lot of normally the migas they serve here in Malaga would be with chorizo, and it's and it's obviously fried bread. So if you have a good plate of that before you get on the Noche de Vino, you might not feel so bad the next day. But that looks amazing. That.
Yeah. Says now I did have a look on Wikipedia just to see a little bit about it. Generally, texture similar to that of a tortilla. That's the Spanish tortilla. Made with a dough of flour, water, garlic, olive oil, and salt. And those are the main base ingredients. But in different regions, you can have all kinds of stuff in there, like chorizo, like you said, any kind of sausages. And what else does it say? Sausage, bacon, ribs, anchovies, sardines, even grapes and chocolate. So there's lots of different information there. So if you want to know a bit more about them, there's lots of research you can do. And they're cooked in they're called gachamihueras. That's the large frying pan. Looks like a wok.
Wow, yeah, that's amazing. Huh?
There you go.
Yeah.
So that's one lot, and then you sent me another bunch of pictures. So we'll zip through these.
You might not get through them all, yeah. So I was looking last night. I was going, I've got any other foodie type stuff that's interesting.
Yeah, and these look amazing. Yeah, tell us about that one.
That was actually in. Do you know what? I was going to tell you what the exact name of that, but that was in Montreal, believe it or not. And it's a raw tuna. Again, I love tuna, but I quite like tuna raw. And it's a raw tuna, avocado and onion salad, basically, and they form it and then put cover it with the brot. They call them brotes. What do they call the like cress? When you're growing cress, you literally grow it for 2 days and then you cut it and eat it. It's here they call them brotes. So you'll have like soya. Brotes de soja is like the soya sprouts. I suppose.
Sprouts, yes.
Yeah, so it'd be like sprouted purple mustard on top of it. It was amazing.
Wow, that's lovely. And those things on the top left, those are really traditional all over the place, aren't they?
Yeah, believe it or not, they're empanadas. They're empanadas, which and they gave you the choice of 3. So one of them was full of cheese, the other one was mincemeat, and then there was another one. I can't remember what the other one was. It was a tomato-based thing.
I've had a curried one before, and that was really nice as well.
Yeah, they're coming like there's quite a lot. This is Argentinian influence. The empanadas. You'll find a lot of the roast chicken houses that we get here are run by Argentinians. You can get empanadas at the same time.
Yeah, I saw a lot of them in Cordoba actually. Oh, lovely. And I think there's a lot of South Americans in Cordoba because we went to a lovely restaurant where we had Uruguayan beef there. That was just spectacular.
Wow.
There we go. So moving on. We might take a while to get through these, but I'll flick through them. What kind of fish is that?
That was a dorada, believe it or not. A
Ah,
dorada. That's what I
they're
left
big.
hanging there. Yeah, just a huge dorada. Dorada served up and on the plate. And I mean, the thing is about the doradas, you can definitely feed. You can, if you with a couple of tappers before, you can feed a family with a decent sized one.
Mm. Yeah, lovely. That's a fish that you get in when you get the mixed fish in batter. That's one of the fish that you get, and actually that's absolutely lovely because it comes in a big chunk.
It's no, that's rosada. So that's a
Oh,
dorada, and what comes in your fried chunks is a rosada. believe it or not.
good. Thank you for the correction. And oh, here we go. That's the kind of platter that I like to eat.
Yeah, that was I did that. I was on that. I was at our barbecue. So we had the good thing with it so you got the ribs at the top, obviously asparagus, which it's just come off asparagus season, so you get a lot. The chicken thighs, and then when you're buying in the supermarket here, if you look for lomo bajo, which is like the equivalent to an entry cot, but you can get lomo bajo quite cheaply, and it's an amazing steak. If you get it right, it's good. It's normally around between 11 and 13 euros a kilo. So if you start looking at the other steaks, they get a lot more expensive. So lomo bajo is a good thing to buy.
Right. Oh, lovely. Oh, yes. There's nothing more traditional than that stuff.
Well, believe it or not, it's not, because that is actually it's not ham.
Not.
That's cured beef.
Oh,
Believe it or not.
wow.
That is cured beef. Yeah, we saw it, and I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna have to try that. And completely different flavor, but definitely to be eaten with a very, very, very deep red wine. You don't want any flowery riojas to have with that. You need something a bit stronger. Something from Granada, the Alpujarras. They do nice red wines there.
Wow. I've got to try some of that. And there we go. Oh, yes. What are they?
They're lubinas, which I think is sea bass.
Oh, yes.
That's me and my friends having a go with the lubinas.
Fabulous. Oh, yeah. That's sardines in the middle.
Yeah, so this is when it was actually we were doing a beach day with a couple of our mates, and that's on the right there. You'll see again it's a dorada before it's cooked, and then the sardines on the espetos.
Fabulous. Oh, yeah, that looks like a posh one.
That, believe it or not, is actually, I don't know if you know, carpaccio or carpaccio people call it, which is raw, very, very, very finely sliced meat. You'd normally get it carpaccio. That's actually prawn carpaccio. So it's raw. It's raw, very, very, very finely sliced prawns with various different sauces to accompany it. It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, that's slightly blurred, but what is that?
That is steak tartare from Malaga.
Wow. I had steak tartare in Paris once. That was lovely.
Yeah, that was in Malaga. That was in I think it was our anniversary one for that. With a raw quail's egg on top.
Nice. Oh, no.
There's our ham. There's the ham.
Come on. Yeah.
Come on.
That looks like the lovely fatty bit in the middle as well. Just gorgeous.
I mean, if you get a chance to go and watch somebody properly cutting ham, there's an art form to it. Yeah, we get one at Christmas, and I still haven't nailed it really. But you see somebody who really knows what they're doing with a ham. It's amazing.
Wonderful. Oh, hello to Bobbleob, by the way, and Adam Farmelo, my fellow Irish passport holder. Thanks for joining us. Where are we now? Oh, this is the stall.
Yeah, it's Malaga Market. Again, if people are coming, you have to look. There's probably 2 points to make if you can move into Spain. You just have to check when you're buying either kilo or by unidad. So you'll see there'll be two things. You can either buy by piece, so it's buying by one piece or two pieces, or by the kilo, and it will say it on the ticket. But I know people have made that mistake. and something to check. But yeah, that's Malaga, the main market.
There we go. I'm a bit afraid of buying fish. I don't know what I'm buying and don't know what to cook. So maybe you'll have to give me some lessons.
Yeah, you just have a go.
Have a go. I'm worried about people say that, you know, you're having a bad stomach after badly prepared fish. So I've been a bit scared of that. But there's shark on this one.
As long as you prepare it the same day, it doesn't matter. You could eat it raw. As long as it comes from the market same day, it wouldn't matter. It's if you leave it a couple of days, and it could be a problem.
That's a good hint. Thank you. There's loads of stuff on there. So what's that? There's on the left. There's a great big shark mouth up there. So I suppose that's shark on the left.
Yeah, I'd say that they've got. I don't know. They have. It's very similar to a shark, but it's not. It's I can't remember what it's called now. Like Cafon. Because it's very white, fluffy. If you ever see CA, it's spelled CAZON, and it's like a very white, quite fluffy fish meat. It's very nice, very, very nice to have. It's not intense like tuna and salmon maybe.
There we go. So next,
snails. That's
snails.
Yeah, that's at our local. So we've got a couple of local ventas. There's one called Ventorio, and they're famous for the snails. And if you go a couple of days after it's rained, because generally they go out, get them after it's rained, then they hang them in a net for a couple of days, and then cook them in a sort of an almond sauce.
Wow, lovely. Is that as popular in Spain as it is in France?
If you go inland, I think it's something that's dying out, to be honest. If you were to go to one of the ventas, we've still got a couple of old school ventas here, and if you were to go there, when they've got them on the menu, then you would pretty much see, everybody getting tucked in. But I'm not too sure how long it will last for. I said to my wife Lara every time, because I love them, I think they're brilliant, they're really nice, got a really good flavour, but everybody seems to be quite older who's eating the snails. You never see anybody younger eating the snails. So I don't know how long the tradition's gonna last for. I mean, with a lot of these foods now, they obviously came back from the time when people go out and forage, and stuff. So if people don't need to now, eating it as a delicacy, maybe they wouldn't.
There we go. So looking through, we're on number 14 of 42, so I should move faster.
Maybe should we flick a bit that again and have a lovely salad?
Yeah, another lovely salad.
Gambas pil-pil, traditional.
My favourite. Lovely.
You've got to have that.
Sometimes a lot more spicy than others. There's spicy peppers and everything. Yeah. Lovely. More of those.
More of them.
And what's that?
Oh, that's sushi. So it's just I put that in because Spain has had this like upsurge in sushi restaurants, especially here in Malaga. There's one of the best sushi restaurants. It's in the town called Cartama near us. So it's definitely worth, if you're a sushi lover, to check out the sushi in Spain. There seems to be an upsurge. You couldn't find it 5 years ago, and now it's all over Malaga.
Brilliant. There we go. Moving with the times. One of your barbecues? Chicken, roast potato, and potatoes. There we go. And there's the paella.
That is in Nerja. Very Ayo, in the restaurant Ayo in Nerja. It's a very, very famous restaurant. It's lovely there.
Lovely. Let's try that one. And what's that? Can't tell from there.
Can't remember. Haven't a clue.
There we go. Just flick past that one. That black pudding.
That's morcilla. So that's again a very typical dish. If you see that, get the black pudding.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd recommend that. Oh, here we go. Is that one of yours?
Yeah, it's one of ours. Huge dorada. It's a wild dorada. So that was a good one.
Excellent. There we go. That's him being cooked.
Yeah.
And what are those pea pods or what?
They're soya beans, believe it or not.
Oh, excellent.
Not a typical delicacy, but we're seeing more. Now this is typical. A vieira. So a vieira is like a large clam, and that's a vieira al pil-pil. They're normally about €4 each, and definitely, if you see a vieira, that's definitely worth trying.
Brilliant, thank you. And
that was
gambas
stuffed, believe it or not, peppers, which they do them relleno, and it's not very often you see a relleno with fish. That was an amazing thing on the beach to have.
Lovely. More of them. We've seen them, and more of them, and it's that.
That's the Vieira again. This time on a tomato base, so it's the clam on tomato base. They really are amazing.
Brilliant.
That's the ajo blanco that I was mentioning before the show. So if you ever see, it's a white gazpacho, which is made with almonds and garlic, and it's absolutely fabulous and refreshing. It's called ajo blanco. If you ever see it in a restaurant.
Lovely. Yeah. Well, there we go.
That's the restaurant in Malaga, the famous Pimpy. I don't know if you've.
Oh yeah, been there.
Yeah, so that's the Pimpy restaurant.
Is that? I would advise go inside.
That's inside, so you can see all the barrels which are signed by Antonio Banderas and every other famous person who's been there.
Yeah, and he's usually at the procession on, I think yesterday, in Malaga.
He's a big advocate for Malaga.
Oh, that's a mixed fish, isn't it? There.
Yeah, so that's the mix. They do a mixed fry up, don't they? So it's they call it a fritura de pescado. So it's a good way that if you're going with a family, you're not really too sure what you want, and it's a quick snack, but you just want one plate. You can just run in, 4 of you, just say, "Oh, we'll just have the fritura," and basically they fry up about 7 different types of fish, stick it on a plate, and it's this bit of potluck what you get.
Yeah, calamari, anchovies, all that kind of stuff. Lovely. Well, that looks nice.
And that is that's the porra de Antequera. So Antequera inland here is very, very famous for porra is like a thick gazpacho. So you eat it with a spoon, you don't drink it, and it's always served with tuna and eggs. And to get the real one, you're supposed to go to Antequera, which is near El Torcal inland.
Yep.
But it's an amazing thing for summer. So yeah, it's definitely something it's worth trying.
Yeah, absolutely. Straight north from Malaga on the motorway if you need to go there, and if you want to go there, I'd recommend it. It's a lovely place.
Yeah.
And there we go. More seafood. That crab, Claude.
That was crab. Yeah, that was crab. So they cook it, and then they use the actual crab shell as the reciprocal for the meat once they've cooked it.
Good, must try. I haven't tried crab since I've been here. That's bright.
That is porra, but with remolacha, with beetroot. So that's a beetroot porra. It's like a soup that you have. You have it cold, and then you can have it with fresh cheese on top. I made that actually.
Very nice. Auntie saying queso de rabo de toro in Compita. It fed 5 people, and the bones for Liz 2 for the dog was delicioso. Is that ribs?
No, that's the beef oxtail.
Oxtail rabo. Yes, of course. It is one of Liz's favourites, that. She had that in Cordoba as well, while I had the pig's cheek, which was, might have been cow's cheek, I don't know. But whoever cheek it was the best.
That's a parsley soup which they do here, which is absolutely amazing. Which is parsley and spring onion soup.
Yeah, and leeks as well. There was pictures of leeks behind it, which I cut out.
It might have been leeks in as well. Yeah.
There we go. And what's that?
That's very typical. So typical here. Every person makes their croquetas. They're almost as proud in Malaga as their paella as their croquetas. Not croquetas like the rubbish ones that you get for €1 in a bag. They're homemade. So there's so much love and effort goes into the masa, which makes the croquetas. So they're homemade. What the croqueta in English, I suppose, is a
croquette. They call it the French name, yeah.
Croquette. So, and here, that was 1 week. There's some we actually made at ours, but everybody you'll find it's quite funny because it's every time you speak to somebody, they've always got the best recipe for croquetas.
Of course, yes. It's just like in Ireland, everybody's got the best pub, the most famous pub, the most this. Yeah, there we go. Oh, there's you with the full.
Yes, that was actually Lara's book signing when she finished her book. We did a party for her out in our allotment where we used to have we've still got it actually, and I did a fish rice for everybody there, which went down well.
Brilliant. And I think there's a close-up of it coming up. Yes. What are the long pieces? Are they bits of pepper?
Bits of pepper, yeah, they'll just to adorn the rice. It was a dry rice made with fish and long grain. It's like that's more of a typical one to the caldoso. That's something that's like what you would have as a tapa probably somewhere.
Yeah. Cool. So, oh, there you are.
Yeah.
At the party. Only got a couple more left, and there's you doing the.
That's doing the. That was actually taken at one of our local social club, but because they heard that I was a bit handy with sardines. The guy who was doing it gave me a shout and went off for a beer and stand in, look at these, please, for me. I was supposed to be a client, but
there you go. That's how you get into it.
Yeah.
And finally, that one. That's the last picture.
That's the snails again. That's the snails.
Yeah. There we go. So that's all the pictures we've got. Thank you everybody for telling us on the live chat. All of your different experiences as well. I didn't read many of them out today, but do thank you so much for that. I think I've mentioned everybody that I need to mention. And anything else you want to say about food? Any particular other food traditions?
I just really here, just it's a case of, everything. The great thing about living here is that the gastronomy is just amazing. The food is just incredible. There's also places for every budget. There's if you go into the like the outskirts of Malaga, for example, like when we're going to our police appointments and we're doing the TIE and stuff, you're not allowed on because the children can't be seen.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
Sorry about that, Ralph.
See you soon, Ralph.
See, then you can get these menus of the day. Just go and try them in the local areas. There's around the back of the police station in Malaga. There's one for €9. And it's like just amazing. And then just really get out there and try, and don't be scared in the supermarkets either. We always, when we go in shopping, looking at things, going, I'm too sure what that is, but thank goodness for Google. Years ago we didn't have Google, but now we can just Google it. How did you see sea snails today? Google it, and there's some fantastic blogs and channels out there. A lot of them in Spanish, but for people who are who want to learn how to cook. So I'm always looking at them on foodies.
I'll get onto that. Yeah, and we always cook on the barbecue as well, because there's a hob on the side of it as well, so you can do everything on there. So I'm going to look at that. Actually, you're not going to believe this. Last night's dinner that Liz and I had, I'm going to give an excuse before I tell you what it is, because we'd both been really busy all day. Me setting up all of these photographs to show everybody, and we had sausage, bacon, and egg for dinner. Mind you, they were really nice Spanish sausages, and it was
nothing
Spanish
wrong with
bacon
that, though,
well.
is there? It's like you can go. We always we don't. Well, I wouldn't say we go that traditional, but like for Christmas we do completely. We always go traditional Christmas, apart from the fact that we normally do it on the 24th and have Christmas Day out because it's a nice day to be out and about.
Yeah.
So that's good, but yeah, it's nothing wrong with you can get most things now here in Spain, whereas years ago you couldn't.
Yeah, it's true. And we are going to go out for an Easter meal, but we're waiting for our son Oscar arrives in the middle of the week, so we're actually going to have it afterwards, because it's probably a bit too late to book a meal now, and I've got a gig tomorrow evening anyway, so I wouldn't want to. No. So there we go. So I recommend everybody, if you've come to Spain, don't stick to what you know. Expand your taste buds, because there's so much out there.
Ask people what is there. Go off menu as well. If you go in anywhere for tapas and you speak to people, say, is there anything else? And they might say, oh, do you know what, actually, and you'll always find there's something there to discover.
Yeah, they'll appreciate that. Try and ask them in Spanish as well. Yeah. So if anybody's got any more questions or comments, put them in the YouTube comments below and you'll get the answers and the help you need. Don't forget to click on the like button, which is down there somewhere, and subscribe. Yeah, have some more lemon. And that if you subscribe and click on the bell, so you select all, then you'll be the first to know what's coming up each week on the live shows. So next week, Chris is going to be back again for the third of this 3 weeks in a row, and we're going to be talking about how to prepare for moving to Spain. We're kind of going right back to the start of the process, and hopefully we'll have another special guest on too, just for a little 5-minute spot from Age in Spain, because they've just published a free comprehensive guide which is all about how to thoroughly prepare yourself for Spanish life. And as they always say, it's not just for old people, and it's not just for UK residents. It's for anybody who can read English, really. And they give out lots and lots of good advice there. So if you have any questions in advance about that, then put them in the comments either underneath this video or go to the YouTooSpain Facebook group. There's a link to that below. So if you want to join that, ask to be a member of that. Do that right now. And we'll see you next Saturday morning, regular time of 9 o'clock. I have to laugh at Chris. The faces you're pulling with the lemon. You're going to eat the whole thing live.
I'm going to try it. I'm going to try.
So 9 o'clock in the morning if you're in the UK, Ireland, or the Canaries. 10 o'clock if you're in Spain, Central Europe. 4 o'clock in the morning if you're in New York. And work it out if you're anywhere else. And that's all for this week. Thanks to Chris. Big virtual hug and a kiss to you. Thanks to everyone on the live chat. Pass around the Fiesta cookies. Peace and love to everybody. And let's get ready for the cosmic dance. Thank you to everybody on the live chat. Here we go. Get ready to dance. Let's go.